David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another ink review. Well, an ink overview, and that would be an overview of the ink brand Private Reserve. I have a lot of ink to show you today, so this won't be a traditional ink review per se. Private Reserve was founded back in the year 2000. I'm not going to go into a detailed company history, but over the years, the company has had a couple of different owners. But within the last year or so, the brand has been acquired by Jaffa Brands, who are the U.S. distributors for a number of brands like Diplomat and Conklin and Pineider and Tebalde and Monteverde and several others. The entire Private Reserve lineup consists of over 40 different inks, and Jaffa was kind enough to provide me with a little over half of the color options to share with you. I have 24 different colors to go over today. Since I have a lot of inks to cover, this will be a bit of a different review than some of the other reviews I've done in regard to inks. What I'm going to do today is show you samples of the 24 inks, and then I'm going to pick 3 and go over them in a little bit more detail. So in order to do that, please join me over here at camera 2. Okay, to begin with, I wanted to show you some of the swatches. We have the Sherwood green, and I kind of organized these by colors a little bit. There's the avocado. On these swatch samples, there were a few that had a bit of feathering to them on this particular paper. But you'll see I didn't have that same issue when I was writing on some Tomoe River paper. There is spearmint and Cadillac green. Then kind of getting into the blues, there's an ebony blue, an ebony purple, there's a velvet black, and a chocolat. Then there is a copper burst, vampire red, black cherry, a burgundy mist, Dakota red, plum, purple mojo, black magic blue, then some other blues. There's a Naples blue and a Daphne blue. Then there's an American blue, tropical blue, and then 3 more. We have midnight blue, electric DC blue, and blue suede. And in regard to some more saturated swatches here on some Tomoe River paper, you could tell I just applied a lot more here, and there's a lot more shading when it comes to here. This ebony blue has some really nice sheen to it. Then we have some other blues here. This vampire red is nice. The avocado is nice as well. And the Sherwood green is a little bit brighter. Black magic or blue is a little more on the purple side. And then in regard to the other inks, the tropical blue is very nice. I like the purple mojo and copper burst as well. And then the ebony purple has a nice gold sheen to it. Now, I will say that in regard to the black cherry, I do have an older mixture from a number of years ago, so I was kind of curious as to the difference. And so this was the black cherry from a number of years ago, and then this is the black cherry from this latest batch. And I don't find them to be that different. Maybe the new one is a little bit more redder, a little bit more vibrant, but they are fairly the same. I was just curious to see how the formulation changed over the years. Now, in regard to the 3 that I wanted to kind of go in a little bit more detail, the 3 that are kind of my favorites, Copper Burst has really been something that I've been drawn to. This is what the bottle looks like. It's a 60 milliliter bottle, and really nice wide opening, and so you can get just about any pen in there, but that's what the Private Reserve bottles look like. Then here is the Copper Burst with Franklin Christoph Terra Firma and the Papier Plume 11 and the Bungbox Piano Mahogany and the Diamine Ancient Copper. So I find it's very similar to the Ancient Copper, but with a bit more shading to it. A brand new ink from Leonardo, the Noche Moscata. And then here it is with Monteverde's Pumpkin Cake. The next one I wanted to kind of highlight is Purple Mojo. I really like this vibrant purple. I'm a big fan of vibrant purples. Here it is with the Mont Blanc Beetles Psychedelic Purple and Diamine Purple Rain. One of my other favorite purples, the Birmingham Andy Warhol Pop Art Purple. I find it to be fairly similar to the Cross Violet. And here it is with Lamy Dark Lilac. And the last color I wanted to feature is one that I didn't receive a new version of, but it was one of the first ink bottles I actually purchased when I started in this hobby, and it's one I still love and is still offered today, which is called Naples Blue. I find it to be a really vibrant blue. This is what it looks like with the Robert Oster Bondi Blue, which is another one of my favorites, and Visconti Turquoise, which is a little bit lighter. Here's Lamy Pacific Blue, and one of my all-time favorite inks, the Iroshizuku Konpeki. And here it is with the Iroshizuku Amairo. I wanted to give you some quick writing samples with each of these three inks. First up, for the Purple Mojo, I thought it'd be appropriate to use a purple pen. So here we have the Leonardo Fiore Grande. So we have the Leonardo Fiore Grande. And this is the Private Reserve. Purple Mojo. This is a rather flexible nib. This is the Leonardo Flex nib, and you can see that it's a nice, vibrant purple there. And we'll do just a little bit more writing. The Quick Brown Fox. In regard to the Copper Burst ink, I only thought it appropriate to use a copper pen. And my favorite copper pen, or one of my favorite copper pens in my collection, is this Kara's Pen Company ink. And this is the heaviest pen I own. But it's patinaed really nice. And I kind of like how it's patinaed a little bit different on the inside of the pen compared to the outside as far as the section to the body. But we have here the Kara's ink. This is a medium stainless steel nib, and this was, we'll call it a flex nib, not fine, but more of a FL for flex. And this is Private Reserve Copper Burst. Give a little bit of sample there. And in regard to some fast writing here with this ink, I think that Copper Burst looks really nice in a number of different pens. And finally, for the Naples Blue ink, I thought it'd be appropriate to use a pen from Italy, and that pen would be the Delta Dolce Vita Oversized. So let's move this up a little bit. We have the Delta Oversize. This again is a medium. I believe it's 14 karat gold. 18, 14? I believe it's 14 karat. And the ink here is Private Reserve. Naples Blue. And this is a real nice vibrant blue. A little bit of railroading here, but that's more on the pen. but it's a really nice blue. Okay, let's do a little bit of water test here. Let's just do this really quick. That's for the Naples blue. And I know these aren't very straight lines, but let's at least kind of get them in here. That's for the copper burst. And then here is for the purple mojo. And we'll get a little bit of water on here, a little bit of water on each. And while we let that sit there for a second, I do have some chromatography samples. And I will say, I'm not going to show slow motions of these because for the most part, they weren't that exciting. This is the Naples blue, and you can see for the most part, it's a pretty solid blue, a little bit of light blue in there. Then this was the purple mojo, which again was pretty much a solid purple, which kind of tells me that these are more, this is more of a purple dye or a purple pigment that's in this ink as opposed to mixing multiple colors together. And then this was the copper burst. And for the copper burst, it seems like there was a little bit more in regard to some yellows and oranges and a little bit of reds, and then some darker blacks here at the top. Okay, let's see what we have here. Now, these inks don't profess to be waterproof. The purple holds up okay. The copper burst doesn't so much, and neither does the Naples blue. But I would say that the purple holds up really nicely. So there we have an overview of a little more than half of the private reserve offerings. I think of all of the colors, right now I'm kind of most in love with the copper burst. I think that looks really nice. And I do like the purple mojo as well, but the copper burst is something that I really do care for. I'm glad to see them kind of make a comeback with Jaffa, and I wanted to thank Jaffa for sending me over the inks to sample. So I think it's something you should check out from the retailer of your choice. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.